Yeah.
It's an extreme engineering achievement. If you thought Facebook was a good idea, Bitcoin is 100 times better idea. I think you've seen a huge surge of monetary energy out of fixed income in search of a store of value. And the first place they went was big tech.
Yeah.
And they went to the things they knew. They went to FANG because everybody knows them and they're familiar with them. And I think that trade worked for like 12 weeks, from March through middle of the summer. I think now we're at the point where the market doesn't know what to do, but they're just sitting as a store of value. People are using Apple and Tesla and Facebook and Amazon as a store of value because they have more faith in it than they have. By the way, it's not irrational because you can probably trust Apple, Amazon, Facebook, and Google to print less stock than you can trust your own government to print fiat currency, right? So if you're actually looking for a store of value, then they were everybody's best idea, and you could punch the button and do the trade quickly with your prime broker. But I think as we look forward, I don't think they're the same trade and the same investment thesis as they were a decade ago.
Yeah, definitely.
Because everybody agrees with you. It's a crowded trade.
Yeah.
And you might be able to find good investments, but I think it's 100 times harder. Like when I bought Amazon at $300 a share when it had already crushed 15,000 retailers, and it was trading at 2 times revenue, and it was growing 20% a year, and everybody on Wall Street hated it. And it was unstoppable, $300 billion business, but you could have bought it at 1/10 of what it trades at right now. It wasn't a hard decision.
No, it was actually, yeah.
All these big tech companies, they weren't hard. Apple, Google, Facebook, Amazon, they all had like 100 million to 1 billion users, and they were a monopoly, and no one was near to them, and they had economies of scale. Apple can ship a new product to 1 billion people in a weekend for a nickel. That was obvious in 2012. That was obvious with Facebook that they could actually change the way 1 billion people communicate in 2012. So there were obvious investments back then. I don't think there aren't that many obvious tech trades right now where you look at it and you're like, 99% of the world doesn't understand it. It's going to go up by a factor of 10. I'm going to buy this. To be clear, my view on Bitcoin is the monetary network. It is Facebook for billionaires. No one ever brought 1 billion friends to Facebook, but people with $1 billion will bring every one of their dollars, or a large chunk of them, everything they want to save, to Bitcoin. And that means that it has all of the appeal of the world's greatest safe haven asset. It's better than gold. 10x, a million times better than gold, but presumably 10x the monetary appeal of gold. And gold's a $10 trillion thing, right? And I believe it's better than the sum of all the big tech companies. Put Facebook, Apple, Amazon, and Google together, and they're worth 5 to 10 trillion. It's 10 times better than that. And so it's the most compelling network. It's a technology network to collect, store, and channel all the liquid monetary energy in the world, stored over long periods of time with no power loss. It's an extreme engineering achievement. If you thought Facebook was a good idea, Bitcoin is 100 times better idea. And if you're looking for investment ideas right now, I would say there's 10,000 hyper complicated razor blades you can juggle. They're all complicated. And there's one obvious good idea. And the good idea is the world's first monetary network, right? And so anything that's tied into it, like Square's killing it, selling Bitcoin on Square Cash App.
Yeah.
PayPal's going to be a great play tied into Bitcoin. MicroStrategy, we tied into Bitcoin, and that was helpful for our shareholder relations, right? But to be clear and to be humble, the big idea is there's $250 trillion of monetary energy being debased by fiat currency printing.
Yeah.
It needs a store of value. It's desperately looking for a home. Bitcoin is a $350 billion monetary network. When $250 trillion tries to squeeze into a $300 billion pond, they have to go through a very thin nozzle.
Yeah.
And that nozzle creates a positive feedback loop and a reflexivity that is going to drive the price of Bitcoin up. It's going to create more awareness, more intensity,
Yeah.
more adoption. Look, it's like I have an airplane pressurized and I put a hole in the window and all of that pressure is blowing out of the airplane. It's a wind tunnel. It's like it's like I'm in a school system and all the kids are there and no one ever goes to the playground, and a bunch of guys modeling say, well, the kids don't normally go out to play in the playground, and so I don't think they're going to go play. And then someone starts a fire in the school and a fire breaks out. And the issue is, do you think the kids are going to run out of the school? Like right now, what we have is a situation of all the monetary energy getting sucked out of the fiat instrument system of the investment. So how long will it take before rational investors realize the energy is getting sucked out of the room? They're going to freeze to death somewhere between 1, 2, 3, 4 years.
Bitcoin is
and
a
somewhere
black
in
hole.
that time, they're all going. I think that this is the year of the virtual wave. If you can zoom anywhere at the speed of light and bend time and space, what are you going to do with that power? So I'm bullish. I'm bullish on any business idea or technology that is really tapped into the virtual wave, because the world, it doesn't want 10,000 people to do something manually in a mediocre way.
Yeah.
It wants one person to do it in a virtual way 1,000,000 times a day. And so there's all these interesting things that are virtualizing, and it's a rise of excellence. And so if there's an offering, the world's best virtual something, or if there's a technology or a company tapped into it, I think that those have potential. Each one of them has to be assessed on its own merits.
Yeah.
And every good business idea is like, our business, we are virtualizing. So what did we do? We went from 2,500 people to 2,000 people. We cut our costs by 50 million a year on a $500 million basis. We drove our cash flows up by a factor of 5. Once we did that, we knew we were going to generate 60 to 90 million in cash flow a year. So we changed our treasury strategy. So then we went and we virtualized our balance sheet with Bitcoin. And then we went and changed our website. So our website has all these videos. And if you go to the website, you can watch the videos without meeting a person.
Yeah.
And we replaced sales, support, marketing. Instead of an army of salespeople to say the same thing over and over again, there's an array of videos that you can watch at your leisure that say it better for free. Right? That's virtualizing. So companies that are virtualizing or can virtualize or benefit from that, they're interesting. As an investment thesis, you have to find the one that everybody else hasn't found already.
Yeah.
Right? Zoom is already well understood today. Investing in Zoom a year ago would have been a good idea.
Yeah, very good actually.
Yeah. I think that Bitcoin Cash and all the other forks of Bitcoin are failed experiments. They're all going to zero. To be honest with you.
Okay.
I don't think the world needs a cryptocurrency. It doesn't need a proof of work network to be a payment network or a payment rail. I think that the payment rails will be solved by PayPal and Square and Apple Pay and Google. And I think that the world does need a crypto asset like Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is 50 times better, 50 times more secure. So I feel like most of the forks will eventually fail over time. With regard to Ripple, I think it's a venture investment. It's not really what I think about cryptos in general are there 6,500 of them and all wanted to be an asset. There's only one that succeeded, which is Bitcoin.
Yeah.
I think that if these other ones find another niche, they might have a future. And so some of them try to be more efficient or faster or something, but I think most of them will fail because I think that payment rails will be dominated by traditional digital big tech companies like Apple, Google, Amazon, Facebook, Square, PayPal, etc. So it's very hard. You need to come up with, if you want to do a crypto, it needs to be something that requires sovereign immortality.
Yeah.
What is it that's so important that you want to put on a crypto network and transcend any company's lifetime or any country's lifetime? And money is like, and maybe provenance, or maybe, maybe some special will or testament, or maybe license. Maybe there's something other than money, but I don't think anybody's found out what it is yet.
Yeah.
So they're all venture investments, and you got to assume there's a 99% failure rate, and there might be one thing that finds a niche that is a success. And if you go into it with the venture capital mindset, then it's interesting, but none of them are appropriate as a treasury reserve network to actually put
Okay.
money that you want to keep.
Okay. Perfect.